few years ago, I bought the First Lite Catalyst Foundry pants as a cold weather pant specifically for saddle hunting. And in the few years since I've had them, I found them to be a really one-size-fits-all option for cool and cold weather hunting. And today I'm going to talk about what I like about them, break down the construction and the materials, and explain who they might be a good fit for. Alright, to start out, these are a hybrid soft-shell pant, meaning part of the pants are made of a fleece-backed, very warm and wind-resistant soft-shell material, which is First Lite's Catalyst material. They've had a Catalyst soft-shell and a Catalyst pant prior to this. It's basically a very quiet, very flexible two-layer soft-shell with a fleece backer. That material makes up the upper portion of these pants, and the lower portion of these pants from the knees down is a waterproof nylon, which feels very much like a brush pant or a canvas pant. There's also a waterproof panel on the seat of these pants, which is great for sitting in snow or on wet ground. And they also have removable knee pads, which have been a really nice feature. If everything about these pants is just pure versatility, the construction allows them to be really effective in cool or cold weather. I start wearing these by themselves with no base layer when temperatures reach around 40 or 50 degrees. They have great venting options for walking in those warmer temperatures. And as the season goes on and temperatures cool down even more, I put a base layer or even two base layers underneath these. And I find that in a whitetail saddle hunting situation, these are a great option even down below freezing. A pant like this obviously isn't going to replace a bib for extreme cold weather hunting in static situations, but if you layer properly, I have found them to be effective down into very cold temperatures. A few other features of these pants that I really like is that they have full-length zippers on the sides, and these are two-way zippers, meaning they zip up from the bottom and down from the top. The reason this is so valuable is that you can use them as a hip vent when you're active, or you can zip them all the way up from the bottom to put these pants on over boots, meaning you don't have to take your boots off to get your pants on. They also have a great pocket configuration, which is pretty typical of First Lite pants in my experience. They have the standard cargo pockets, which are more on the front of the leg. This is a double pocket on each side, meaning there's a smaller stretch zipper compartment and then a larger dump pocket behind with a flap to keep moisture out. They also have rear pockets, which are zippered, and side hand pockets, which are also zippered. I find that in a hunting situation, I'm not using the rear pockets almost ever, and I'm very rarely using those hand pockets, but the cargo pockets on the front of the pants are exceptionally designed. I find that they're great for gloves, hats, masks, car keys, you name it. They're a really great option for general storage and quick access. One thing to note is that the sizing on these pants is specific to your waist size and inseam, so you can really dial in that fit. I wear a size 32 waist, 35 inseam because I'm tall and relatively thin. I prefer this because generally for me to get a pant that fits me, I need to buy a large or XL. They're still going to be a little bit short and they're extremely baggy and large around the waist. The way they've done the sizing really helps you to dial in the fit, and I think it's the best way to do pant sizing for hunting pants. One thing that I wasn't so sure would be of value to me, but ended up being one of my favorite features of these pants, is the removable knee pads. They come with a very minimalist closed cell foam knee pad, which I'm almost always leaving in these pants, and they've come in handy way more than I ever expected. If I'm walking around rifle hunting, occasionally there are times where you have to go down to one knee for cover or to shoot. When I'm saddle hunting, these provide a little bit of extra padding against the tree, although they're not going to replace full padded knee pads for this application. Because they're a relatively minimalist design, they're not sufficient for all-day sits with your knees into the tree, but if you are a saddle hunter who stands most of the time and only occasionally puts a knee into the tree, these might be able to cover your bases. And another place where I found these knee pads to be extremely valuable is when you're processing game in the field, gutting a deer, for example. A lot of times you find yourself kind of in weird positions, and these really do help with that situation. Quick note is that if you're going to wash these pants, you do need to remove those knee pads so you don't damage the foam specifically in the dryer. Talking a little bit more about the fit of these pants, these are a little bit of a tapered fit, but not too much, meaning there's plenty of room to layer underneath, but they do taper to a slightly slimmer fit down near your boots, which I personally really like because they fit pretty snug around your boots. When you zip these down over a boot, there's not a ton of an air gap, so it's almost like a built-in gaiter. Additionally, if you are wearing gaiters with these pants, there's not a ton of bunched up material underneath the gaiter. If your pants are too baggy underneath a gaiter, they actually fold in a weird way that can kind of create a channel for moisture to run down your legs if you get in over your gaiters. Another huge benefit of these pants is just extreme durability. Both the Catalyst softshell material and the nylon brush pant type material used on these pants is extremely durable. Like I said, I've been using these pretty hard for several years, and there are very few signs of any wear and tear. These pants are also a lot more versatile as far as temperature range than I was expecting. I was thinking these would be kind of a stopgap between my early season pants and my late season bibs, but I've actually completely ditched bibs, and I wear these pants almost exclusively. If it gets extremely cold, occasionally I will put puffy pants over top of these pants, but I am never swapping these pants out completely for a bib pant in the late season. Now, generally I'm only hunting down into the teens at the coldest. Very occasionally I'll hunt in single digits, but that's the exception and not the rule. But basically from the 40s or 50s all the way down to the 20s or even teens, these are the pants that I'm wearing, and I'll just adjust the base layers that I wear in colder weather. These pants are also suspender compatible, and they do come with included suspenders. These are First Lite's pretty unique 2-point suspenders that only have 2 points of contact, one on each hip, as opposed to the standard 3rd point of contact in the back. This is great for if you're wearing a backpack, you don't have anything interfering with your waist belt or the lumbar pad. It's also much easier to install these because it's simply one on each hip. You can very easily install them while you're wearing the pants, and I do find that suspenders are vastly superior to a belt in almost any hunting situation, specifically if you're wearing a pack with a waist belt. The two applications I found these pants most useful for are extreme cold weather when I'm active hunting, meaning shed hunting, small game hunting, hiking around in cold weather. These are a great active pant. And like I mentioned, these are also pretty much my exclusive cold weather pant, and I just layer underneath them or put puffy pants on top of them in extreme cold weather. So I think the versatility of these, that you can layer under them and make them almost as warm as a bib pant, or you can wear a very light base layer underneath them and do more active hunting because of the venting options. You can stay warm when you're static, and you can let that hot air escape when you're active. I'm also really impressed with the durability of these pants, not just the materials, but the way they're stitched and put together. These are a 3 or 4 year old design, and so I can't speak to the newer version of these pants, but the pair that I have is extremely well made, extremely durable, and I've had no durability issues. I really think if you bought this pant and used it almost exclusively throughout the fall and winter months, you would get years and years and years of use out of this. I'd be surprised if you didn't get 10 plus years out of these pants. Now, as far as price and value, these are an expensive pant, no doubt. They're $260, which for a pair of hunting pants seems outrageous until you realize that they are extremely versatile and extremely durable and will very likely last you season after season. This could be one of the 2 pairs of pants that you have for all hunting, and it could last you literally a decade or more if you take care of it. When I bought these, I kind of thought they would be a stopgap in between my warm and cold weather hunting gear, but they've become a staple in my cold weather system. Basically, for all of archery season, as soon as temperatures are below 50 degrees, I'm wearing these almost exclusively. They're extremely comfortable, they're extremely well made, they're extremely durable, and just really thoughtfully designed. Before I made this video, I took a quick look at the reviews on First Lite's website, and there are hundreds of reviews, and these pants have almost 5 full stars because they are just simply that good. And I can't recommend these pants enough to any hunter, specifically if you find yourself hunting in cold weather, hunting in snow, hunting in situations where you want to be able to vent for active cold weather hunts, or saddle hunting where you might need knee pads. I think these are the perfect do-it-all cold weather pant.